truth about what we eating without telling us the truth about what we eating. So KFC put out a new ad, and in this new ad, let's just say it's that don't got nothing to do with eating chicken. And for lack of a better words, in that video, it looks like they're saying that they've been feeding us people and not chicken. This ain't even a whole commercial. The whole commercial is crazy than this. Look. So what this mean right here? Oh no. Look. So you just
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Totally convinced witches are real after watching this. Humans should not be able to do this, y'all. How is that possible? He's showing you there's nothing attached to these sticks. These are defying gravity and the laws of physics. This is some insane witchcraft.
He changed his eyes, bro.
This guy's either a really good street magician, or he made some kind of pact with the devil and sold his soul to be able to do some of these things. This guy does insane levels of street magic, but it definitely goes beyond just regular card tricks and smaller scale type stuff. But you can go back and watch the video. He definitely didn't seem to have anything attached, no strings attached to these sticks. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
How many times do people have to be told to stop messing with the paranormal, supernature, and the dead? Why do I say this? Because there was a guy who decided to live stream and do some sort of seance and saying he doesn't believe in ghosts. What happened next will scare the living daylights out of you. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, hell no.
I saw that.
Hell no.
I'm out.
Look at that.
1.3 seconds, bro.
This is as clear of an image as I can get off of that video. This is the problem when people tell you not to go out in the middle of anywhere and perform your own type of anything, to call upon anything that you shouldn't call upon, because what's going to happen sooner or later, it's going to show up. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the video, I did not see any watermark on the video that would illustrate to me that it was AI. It could be AI, but it sure as hell does not look like AI. And those screams from him were very, very, very genuine. That did not sound like a person that was faking, oh, I'm scared. That sounded like a person that was terrified.
Yep.
So let me know your thoughts in the comments as to, do you think that video is genuine, or do you think that it's AI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's the problem, man. We don't know if it's genuine nowadays or AI, bro. AI is getting so advanced, man. They can freaking make a whole video, man. You can barely tell the difference, bro. Just a couple of years ago, you could, but nowadays, bro, you can't tell the difference. What do you guys think, bro? Is that genuine or AI?
Are some of the creepiest videos on the internet, part 5. Most of us know about the Christmas tradition, Elf on the Shelf. If you don't, it's basically a way to make your children behave by inviting a special scout elf that monitors your children's behaviors. Every day, children wake up to look for the elf who has changed places after reporting to the North Pole and back. And although these scouts can be simple or humorous, they also have a dark side. This video shows a family elf named Carol in the first recording asked the elf to tell Santa, "We've been really, really good." After stating his request, the elf darts its eyes to look at the camera before the cameraman sprints off. Although this video was proven to be a hoax and was just animated, there are still those who believe it. Regardless, it's sure to send a chill up your spine.
So the whole thing was
What's
cat.
going on with Miley Cyrus? This was her and her Gucci sponsorship, and something is very off because it's giving like witch. Like it's literally giving witch. And mind you, I don't mean this in a rude way because I love Miley Cyrus, and I'm just like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole entire world but loses his soul? I keep saying this time and time again. But the crazy thing is, it's not just that photo. Like, it's all of the photos. And the eyes, they do not lie. Mind you, she was just with Rick Owens. This is his wife, Michelle Lamey, and we know that she is a self-professing witch. Nothing, she's not hiding it. She's straight raw with it. She did an interview with them and things like that. And I feel like all of this since then, she has been kind of seeming soulless. We talked about Jenna Ortega and a lot of these other artists who seem to have had a light in their eyes before and now they don't. And you have to pose the question, why is that? What is going on? Let me say this again. I love Miley Cyrus. I just don't love what she has become.
This is not fake. If you do this, your head is literally about to look like this. Now, if you like playing video games at all, you're probably going to want to watch this because this ain't good. A while ago, scientists depicted what the future game is going to look like, and this is you, I guess. Showing people with hunchbacks, weird body features, but there's a main thing on their head. Essentially a big line, like an indent in their head from where they're wearing their headsets all the time. And well, it's come true. A few Twitch streamers a while ago have already noticed they've got this. First one being Curtis, who shaved his head on live stream and literally saw the indent in his head. This then sparked a lot of other gamers to come out, try the same thing, and well, you can see the results right there. Of course, what's caused this is from wearing the headset like all day. I mean, you can kind of see how that would happen. So if you're in school, you come home and you play games all night, maybe you even have one. Hopefully not, but maybe you do. This has now, over the past few months, become a pretty big thing with a lot of people actually having this. Now, of course, it's not dangerous. It's not going to kill you. It's just not the best thing to have, I guess. But if you're just playing games every now and again, don't worry, it's not going to happen. This happens over quite a long time span. But from what people have been saying as well, once you take the headset off and you don't use it for a while, it does just kind of go away.
Are house parties making a comeback? What you are seeing is footage of an insane Halloween party that got way out of hand and had to be shut down by police. This happened in Woodland Hills, LA, and according to Royal News, who captured this footage, the host initially promoted this party online, selling tickets in advance for just $35, but then charged up to $150 for whoever wanted to pay at the door. But, similar to the real Project X, way more people turned up than anticipated, and things quickly started getting out of control. Dozens of 911 calls started flooding in, reporting injuries from stampedes. A massive fight broke out, people were spilling out into the streets, and the LAPD's air support unit estimated over 3,000 people in that neighborhood alone. When police turned up, one teenager was discovered lying unconscious in the street and was rushed to hospital. Several others were treated for injuries that they sustained in the stampede. And you'd think that most people would condemn this kind of behavior. But 2025's been so rough that people were actually proud, saying things like the earth was healing because the kids are partying again, and that there was still hope for the next generation after all.
If I was Punga right here, I would have popped off on Marlon for what he said. You gotta understand that the mouth hold a lot of power, no digging. So what you say out your mouth can come true. So what he said to Punga is wild as fuck, y'all. Look at this shit. Go ahead. Oh, he ain't, I'm good. I'm good. You may not be here long. I see something bad in your life. You got like 2 years left. You gotta watch him. Y'all hang out with him now. He ain't gonna be here in 2 years. Don't you look like you look coffin ready? I don't see how that was funny. I look coffin ready? Fuck, they gonna sacrifice me? Fuck you mean I got 2 years left to live? Boop boop.
KFC.
Oh, I had that speaking steak logo on it, man. So I have to question the validity of that, bro. Could be cut it up and edit it different, man.
Trying to tell us the truth about what we eating without telling us the truth about what we eat. So KFC put out a new ad, and in this new ad, let's just say it's a whole bunch of shit that don't got nothing to do with eating chicken. And for lack of a better words, in that video, it looks like they're saying that they've been feeding us people and not chicken. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This ain't even a whole commercial. The whole commercial is crazy than this. Look at this shit. So what this mean right here? Oh no. Look. So you just turned a human into a chicken tender, right? Okay. Believe in what? And the chicken. And this takes me back to the video that I made about McDonald's selling 6.5 million burgers a day. Where the hell is all of this chicken coming from? What I'll say is this. These people have a way of letting us know what's going on without letting us know what's going on. And that commercial, ad, or whatever you want to call it, just told me everything that I needed to know. See, this is the reason why I don't really like to eat fast food right now. And I'm not telling you to stop eating fast food. You can do what you want. The only thing I'm asking is, how many pieces of chicken do KFC sell in a day? And once y'all tell me that, then we'll understand what's going on over here. These people are selling what? Look at that ad again. Tell me what you think that ad is saying. Because that ad is speaking volumes. I'm out of here.
You guys ever heard
It's
of
in our
the
face.
Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia? This archaeologist man was looking at this mountain and it had perfectly 4 sides. And he's like, that kind of looks like a pyramid. And so he started doing excavations and stuff.
Yeah.
He found these giant stones perfectly stacked. In the middle of these blocks was geopalmer, which is like an ancient cement. This pyramid was built based off carbon dating 35,000 years ago. The Great Pyramid, 7,000. This is where it gets really weird. He got shut down because Zahi Hawass, the lead Egyptologist in Egypt, pleaded with the Bosnian government saying, don't let him look into this any further.
Weird.
And so the Bosnian government's like, you can't go dig up anymore. The whole story just got swept under the rug. And then over 50 archaeologists came out to observe it themselves, and they're like, this is a pyramid. If you get a satellite image of this place, there's 2 other mountains that have a pyramid shape to them. It's just so weird that every single culture had a giant pyramid.
I never had a Bugs Bunny one, but I had the Boots one. You didn't have the Boots one because it didn't exist, bro. No!
Nah, that's cap,
Because in the
bro.
pictures, if you look in the ice cream truck, there's always just a one singular one with Dora, never a partner with it. Hey, I have a vivid memory of me like eating.
YouTuber just built IRL aimbot for FPS games. Nice. His name is basically Homeless. He created a system that uses AI to detect enemies on screen, then physically controls his arm and trigger finger using electrical muscle stimulation. Here's how it works. A machine learning model called YOLO identifies enemies in real time. A Raspberry Pi calculates exactly where his crosshair needs to move. Then EMS devices send electrical pulses to specific muscles in his forearm, forcing his arm to move and his finger to pull the trigger, all without him consciously doing anything. His body just moves on its own. The system achieves reaction times under 100 milliseconds. That's faster than humanly possible. Normal human reaction time is 200 to 300 milliseconds. But here's the debate. Traditional aimbots modify the game code. Anti-cheat software can detect that. This system doesn't touch the game at all. It modifies the player's body instead. So is it cheating? He's not hacking the game. He's hacking himself. The gaming industry has no rules for this because nobody thought someone would literally electrically control their own muscles to gain an advantage. When someone can achieve superhuman gaming performance by letting AI physically control their body, where do we draw the line between skill and technological enhancement?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if y'all ready for this one. Let's dig deep into Area 51. So we know that most people feel that Area 51 is a place where they experiment, dissect, and hold aliens. But my question is, why and how are they capturing them? If they know that these beings are highly intelligent, why not learn from them? Now we know that there's a special part of the GMIT that handles these situations, aka the Illuminati, the Cabal, the Shadow GMIT, whatever they call them, the ones in charge of putting the veil over our head. Just like there are good and bad people on Earth, there are good and bad aliens. The ones who want to keep planets at low vibrations take over them. But you also have good ones who want to bring knowledge, peace, and information. That's how some people think the Egyptians built the pyramids with their help. Now, a lot of people have said that these bad ETs have infiltrated our government already. AKA why you see shapeshifters and all that. Why do millions of people get kidnapped? Why does trafficking happen? Why is there so many low vibrational things happening on this planet? To keep it under the control of these beings. Now, if they're working together, what is the reason for Area 51? Probably to lock the good aliens up who are trying to help this planet, so this matrix can still keep running. I know y'all have seen the sky turning green. rainbows being shown everywhere. Now in Norse mythology, rainbows represent the gateway to different planets. What if all these rainbows in the sky changing means that these beings are coming back to help us? And it's Area 51's job, with the help of these Greys, the Pleiadian race, to lock up these high vibrational beings when they come down. That's why when people spot them, the G-Men tries to cover it up and say, oh, they're just conspiracy theorists. But just know that more of the good ones are coming. Just pay attention to the sky and stay dangerous.
All right, 3.
So you guys believe that, man? We got some good aliens, bad aliens out there. That's why they abduct them, bro, took them to Area 51 to keep them separated from the bad ones. That's an interesting theory. Never heard of that before.
Sky Atlas just changed fast and quite dramatically, actually. Here's the latest. So, as it hit perihelion as predicted on October 29th, which was yesterday, new data from NASA's STEREO, SOHO, and GHOST 19 shows that the object rapidly brightened and it shifted to a color bluer than the sun itself. That's coming from several sources, one of which is Avi Loeb, who confirmed the change using the fresh imagery that was taken between October 18th and the 24th. So basically a blue color means that it's releasing higher energy. Higher energy particles, likely fresh gas, dust, as it heats up, nearing that sun. And that could tell us a lot about what the object is actually made of. So it's currently behind the sun where it was predicted to be. It still seems to be on the course as predicted, and it shows no signs of fragmentation yet, but it's evolving quickly. So over the next few days, our researchers will be watching to see if the brightness holds or if it collapses, which will give a clue to whether it's going to survive its swing around the sun or not. So I'll keep you posted as new data rolls in, but stay curious, stay grounded.
Thanks for the info update.
This is crazy. Scientists have discovered a brand new colour that no human has ever seen before. Now, they have called this colour Olo. So this colour cannot be seen with the human eye. And it requires a little bit of a trick to be able to see it. So stick with me, I'm going to do the trick with you, and let's see if you can see the colour. So the colour behind me is Olo. And you're probably thinking, yeah, it looks like turquoise. But this colour isn't Olo, because you're looking at it with your human eyes. So to be able to see it properly, we have to stimulate something called the M cones in our eyes. And this is how we're going to do it. So what I need you to do is I need you to hit pause on this video, and I need you to stare at this colour for 60 seconds. Then I will put that Olo colour back on the screen, and I want to know if you see it differently. Is it different? So there is a lot of people saying that they see this completely differently. I have tried the test, and it looks no different to me. Please let me know in the comments.
You guys,
I ain't see nothing.
We are now in the time of prophecy. It just went biblical in China, y'all. What in the Atlantis 2.0 is going on here? Did you guys hear what happened to China, y'all? China, whole cities are lit. So remember when we talked about that these weather anomalies were popping up out of nowhere? The people that have been impacted by this, of course there are some tragedies. Folks are saying people are missing. I mean, look at this, y'all. And this right here is how you know the storm was really bad, because you have the bridges in China overflowing with water. Y'all, there's no cap on the bridges. How is this even possible, y'all? Huh? You know what I'm saying? China is one of the most ancient places on earth. This is where we used to be. It is full of ley lines, ancient technology, sacred temples, y'all. We're watching a whole reset happening in China, y'all. They're calling this the flood of the century. It has broken records. Wow. Do you guys think you can ever rebuild from something like this? I mean, this is somebody's home, y'all. And that right there is also somebody's home. Wow. Y'all see how the weather's popping up everywhere? Who asked for this? I mean, of course we're the earth does what it wants, but this right here is crazy, man. You can't do nothing about it. You can only watch it. I hope you guys are paying attention, because this is not just about climate change, y'all. There's a shift within the mist. Let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all.
Gate to Hell, Turkmenistan. It's been burning for past 40 years, and no one knows when it's going to stop.
Lake Natron, Tanzania.
Due to high levels of salt contents, everything that touches the lake turns to pure stone.
Surprising facts about every single country in the world, part 31. North Korea doesn't tax its citizens. Argentina once had 5 different presidents in 2 weeks. Bulgaria, no army ever has ever captured the Bulgarian flag in battle. Czechia is the most atheist country in the world. Israel developed voicemail technology.
This mother listened as her daughter was mauled by a bear. On August 2011, a 19-year-old Olga Moskolyova went fishing with her stepfather at a river in the village of far eastern Siberia. This area is known for its significant bear population and it's home to one of the largest brown bears in the world. On this day, Olga called her mother and told her that she was being eaten by a bear. At first, she thought her daughter was joking, but then she heard the bears growling and chewing and she realized that this was real. Her mother then called her husband, which is Olga's stepfather, but little did she know he was already deceased. The story is that they were done fishing and were on their way back when they realized that they forgot something. So they walked back to the river and came face to face with a brown bear and her cubs. Olga's stepfather was attacked first and Olga tried to run away, but the bear caught up to her. While Olga's stepfather was already deceased, the bear came back several times to attack Olga until she was dead. But during the attack, Olga was able to call her mother 3 times, and during this call, she told her that she was being eaten by the bear and her cubs. She then ended the conversation by telling her mother that she loved her. The mother called police and they arrived to the location in about 30 minutes and they found the bear still eating her husband's body. Like I said, this area is known to have a lot of bears, so people usually bring protection with them, but it was said that Olga and her stepfather did not.
Facts that will blow your mind.
This is a tragic story, Seekers, man. You're getting eaten alive and you're calling your mom and your mom has to hear that. That's just devastating, man. To have the willpower, man, you're getting eaten alive by a bear to even make this call, since she said 3 times. She's a strong person.
Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods. Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11th, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
That dogs can smell cancer and bees can detect bombs? What the hell?
Places that look more creepy at night.
Country roads at night. Dangerous place. Playground at night. Some stuff go down there too.
Through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
That was an edit. You gotta spot them out, man. When we see the edits, call them out. Especially, like I said, you can call them out down below, man, because I might miss some edits too. Let's help each other out, man. And it's
One of the scariest unknown creatures caught on camera, Part 6. This drone footage captured in the deep parts of the Salt Fork Park in Ohio captures what may be evidence of the elusive Bigfoot. As the drone begins to land, pay attention to the thickets and tell me what you think.
Okay. Definitely saw something in the corner. Bigfoot, was he confirmed, man? You guys know we've seen a lot of sightings or Bigfoot and Sasquatch, but nobody has really able, I guess, been to, like, you know, hunker down and really confirm if it's true or not. That could just be like a different type of animal roaming the forest, or guy in a costume, man. We never know. That's interesting, though. See if I can find some more footage.
Homeowners. I don't know about you, but I've grown tired of that feeling you get every month waiting for the delivery of the electricity. bill. Like many of us, I was fed up of the constant price hikes and the feeling of hopelessness when my electricity bill arrived every month. I felt like I had no control over what I was being charged, and I searched all over to find a solution. That's when I decided to take control of my energy costs. I reached out to a consultant at Zephytech who introduced me to their T1 Powerwall battery. At first, I was skeptical. Why would I need a solar storage system when I don't even have solar panels? But after a quick 10-minute phone consultation, everything clicked. The Powerwall can be charged at night when electricity is cheap at 9p per kilowatt hour. This means that I can store inexpensive energy at night and use it during the day when the electricity rates are higher. Since installing the Powerwall, my electricity bill has been dramatically reduced even without using solar panels. The service and support team from Zephytech has been outstanding. So much so that I decided to take the next step in my renewable journey. And I'm planning to add solar panels to my setup to aim for a zero.
Here's some of the most random fun facts you will ever see in your life.
I'm about to check that out.
Armadillo shells are actually bulletproof. One time a man was hospitalized when he shot at an armadillo and the bullet ricocheted off the shell and hit him instead. There's only one letter in the entire alphabet that isn't in any US state name, and that letter is Q. There's not a single state with the letter Q in its name.
Really?
71% of the earth is covered in water, and humans can only use 0.007% of that water. 2.5% of the total water is fresh water, and only 1% of that is actually accessible. The bumblebee bat is the smallest mammal in the entire world. These things can rest on your fingertips, and you might not even know because they weigh 0.05 to 0.07 ounces. Ostriches are the world's largest and heaviest living bird. That's why they can't fly, but they are built for running, and they can reach speeds of up to 43 miles per hour, and they can pretty easily coast at 30 miles per hour. The longest English word is 189,819,000 letters long. It's a protein, and its nickname is titin, and it would take around 3.5 hours to say the word out loud.
He murdered his great-grandmother for $133. In 2012, 13-year-old Antonio Barbo and his best friend Nathan Papp both murdered his great-grandmother in the most horrific way. On that day, Antonio's mother drove the kids to her grandmother's house, 78-year-old Barbara Olsen, but she had no idea what they were about to do. The two teens tried to sneak into Barbara's house, but then she heard them, so she invited them inside. Once Barbara turned around, her great-grandson hit her with a hatchet. Barbara was hit 27 times and had wounds all over her hands and arms, indicating that she tried to defend herself. The teen stole Barbara's jewelry along with $155 and then used that money to buy drugs and pizza. They tried to drag Barbara's body into her car, but when they couldn't pick her up, they just left her in the garage. Barbara's body was found 2 days later by her own daughter, and the boys were arrested not long after. Nathan argues that he thought Antonio was just joking about murdering his own great-grandmother, and he only participated because he was afraid that Antonio would turn on him. Antonio's grandmother, who's also the victim's daughter, spoke out and said that her mother was not a vindictive person and she would have wanted Antonio to have another chance at life. And Antonio's defense really tried to argue that he had a brain injury back in 2009 and that's the reason he did what he did. But none of that mattered because both of these teenagers were sentenced to life in prison and are eligible for parole in 2048.
For some money, man. I tell you, bro, money. It's the root of all evil, bro. For $155, and their lives are over.
These are things that don't exist anymore. Up first is Heinz Purple Ketchup.
What?
I've never had this or even seen it, but I heard it was really good and everybody liked it. Next up are house phones. Everybody had house phones back in the day, but when cell phones started to blow up, these kind of went outdated. Yes, I know some people have them, but not a lot of them do anymore. Next is cursive writing. Kids nowadays can't even read cursive writing and can't even write in cursive. The only thing that is cursive now is signatures.
Yep.
When I was growing up, they made us write cursive and learn it. But nowadays, they just don't.
I remember, growing up in the lower grades, we used to learn cursive, but they stopped doing that.
What is the number one thing that people say they regret before they die? So the following is according to a nurse who spent several years caring for patients in the last 12 weeks of their life. So regret number 5 on the list is that I wish I'd let myself be happier. Regret number 4 on the list is that I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. She said that many had become so caught up in their own lives that they had forgot their golden friendships and let them slip by as the years went on. one. Regret number 3 is I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Now, regret number 2 is that I wish I hadn't worked so hard. She said that this came from every male patient that I nursed. They had missed out on their children's youth or their partner's companionship. And regret number 1 was that I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. Most people had not even honored half of their dreams, and that they had to die knowing that it was due to the choices that they had made or not made.
Follow your dreams, Seekers, man. Don't know, maybe they tell you different.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips.
What the hell?
With me.
The most historic case that has ever taken place in DC history is probably one that you have never even heard of. One of the scariest cases that I've read in a long time. This is the very true story of the Freeway Phantom. In the 1970s, there was a man in Washington, D.C. who people named the Freeway Phantom because he had one very specific MO. He was only going after young black girls and women. He was abducting them off the street, and then their bodies would be found here, left and positioned right at the freeway. Actually, in the investigation, they profiled him as someone who was a textbook psychopath. He was repeatedly calling the families after he had abducted these girls, and he was breathing into the phone, and then he would say something like, "I just killed your daughter," and then hang up. Even left a handwritten note with the body of one of his victims. If you want the full story on this, we are going to cover it on the show. Mysteriously, in the 90s, all the records on the case vanished.
Here are some creatures you should be glad.
Chilling.
The Gigantopithecus holds the record for being the largest ape to ever live. They grew to be around 10 feet tall, weighed over 1,200 pounds, and lived in what is now southern China for 6 to 9 million years. They eventually went extinct at the beginning of the Pleistocene ice ages around 100,000 years ago. Scientists believe that this primate walked on all fours like modern apes do, while others believe that they walked with a bipedal or human-like motion, but there is no way to tell who's correct. Due to the way their teeth and jaws were constructed, they had the ability to crush, cut, and grind down almost anything, including very tough and fibrous foods. With all this in mind, this is not an animal you would want to come across in the jungle.
Wouldn't. Sounds like they're gonna grind your bones to dust.
This delivery person has quite the imagination. In fact, he hates his job, so he came up with an idea to make it more interesting. Look at how he delivers his packages. He attached a hoverboard to the back and a wheel to the front so he can move around like a car. And the best part is that he can place his bag on the wheel. He thought of absolutely everything. Beautiful.
Here are the worst
Truly,
mistakes
he did.
ever made by teachers. Part 3. When it comes to discussing serious topics in the classroom, like the slave trade, the teacher should talk about it with care and sensitivity. But a social studies teacher from the Bronx named Patricia Cummings didn't do this. She had black students lie down on the floor as a demonstration, and allegedly stepped on at least one student's back. She was, of course, fired, but she decided to sue the New York City Department of Education for $120 million. Next, an elementary school teacher from Wales named Elizabeth Davies was in charge of a group of students that had a good number of Bangladeshi students. And she complained that those students constantly smelled of curry and would spray them with air freshener. Needless to say, she was let go. And a teacher from Florida was so fed up with the disrupted students' behavior that she taped the student's mouth shut. She then tried making a point that what happens in her classroom stays in her classroom. Except then the story hit the local news and it became a sticky situation for her.
Why do teachers think they could do, or some teachers think they can do things like that, and they just think they're gonna avoid the consequences, man? Like, they're kids, but obviously they're gonna tell their parents or friends. Somebody's gonna find out. That first story is crazy, man, how she made those kids demonstrate that, and then she tried to sue them for money. People be trying to sue you for the wrong things. Here's this guy. Listen at it.
Words of Satanists before dying. Aleister Crowley. I am perplexed. Anton Lavey. Oh my, what have I done? There is something very wrong. David Hume. I am in flames. Voltaire, I am abandoned by God and man. I will give you half of what I am worth if you give me 6 months of life. Sir Francis Newport. Oh, that fire. Oh, the insufferable pangs of hell. Thomas Paine. Stay with me. For God's sake, I can't bear to be left alone. Oh, Lord, help me.
These are the world's freakiest land animals. In 2022, a TikToker named Kostika uploaded a video that showed a weird-looking creature running around his backyard. Once the video went viral, wildlife experts took to the comments to explain that it was a lesser blind mole rat. And this is because of how its tiny eyes are nearly tucked under its skin. They spend most of their time underground creating tunnels with their massive teeth. In 2020 in British Columbia, a woman was walking around when she saw a bug that looked like a tarantula with wings. She then shared a photo of the bug to Facebook, where wildlife experts explained that this was a very big moth called a Polyphemus moth. These moths have huge bodies, and despite their scary looks, they don't have mouths to bite. And they have a lifespan of about 2 weeks. And in 2024 in Sydney, Australia, a TikToker named Blonde heard a weird tapping sound coming from her window at night, and she went to investigate. And what she found is like something out of nightmares. At her window, a bat was tapping on the glass, trying to find a way to escape the storm. And it stayed around until the next morning, where Blonde had to call a bat expert to come remove it. But this turned out to be a non-aggressive species of a bat known as a flying fox. And they only eat fruit or flowers. They also struggle to keep warm when they're wet, which explains why it was at her window. Now I just feel sorry for the little guy.
This skier is about to do something terrifying. In fact, he's a world champion in skiing, and during his competitions, he developed a unique technique to go much faster and especially much further.
Sorry, but I'm number one.
Gliding. Like a Batman or something.
The whole Nico Cardo avocado situation is completely fake and driving everybody insane. At least that's what a lot of people are saying on here. Let me explain. So yesterday I'm sure you saw this video where he revealed himself finally after a few months of not being active. And of course the majority of you remember him like this over the past few years making content across various platforms.
Yep.
People are going crazy saying, how the hell is it possible he lost this much weight in between 2 and 7 months? Is it Ozempic? Is it, I don't know what's going on. Which has led many people to believe that these are actually all pre-recorded, because this is what he used to look like 8 years ago. So people are saying that basically all that time ago he pre-recorded all of these videos ready to put them out and basically prank everyone. Especially many people cottoning on to the fact that he has this bird in this video, which he had a long time ago and apparently the bird died. But he said he got a new one. However, this video that he posted yesterday was of the Charlie XCX Apple dance, which obviously is a new trend, so how would this be pre-recorded? And he said it's not been 2 months, he's basically pre-recorded these videos over the last couple of years during his transformation. So all the content the last couple of years was pre-recorded, and the stuff now is finally the real him. It's definitely interesting, and I mean, congrats to him for losing that much weight, it is crazy. And as always, hit that follow button, and I'll keep you updated.
This is the scariest.
That Nico avocado situation, it was actually insane, man. Saw it trending. But if he actually was freaking pre-recorded those videos for years and was working on his transformation, like his video said, he really was 2 steps ahead. That's insane, man. He lost that much weight. But to put your body through that, I couldn't do it.
Story about the bath. Jennifer was sitting at her desk in her room. She was finishing up her homework when she suddenly got a text from a number she did not recognize. The text message said, "Take a bath and go to bed, it's a school night, Mom." Jennifer thought her mom's phone died, and she used somebody else's phone to text her. She already planned on taking a bath, so she undressed and grabbed a towel and walked into the bathroom. She stopped in her tracks and was surprised that the bathtub was already filled. "I guess my mom filled it in advance," she said. She then shrugged her shoulders and got in the bathtub. When she was in the bathtub, she became aware of a burning sensation all over her body, and it got worse and worse until she was crying. She then jumped out of the bath, but it was too late. The water was blood red, and the skin on her arms and legs were beginning to peel off. She was dripping blood and skin. She then picked up her phone to call the police, but there was a new text message waiting for her. It said, "Next time, bathe in water." Jennifer then heard laughter behind her, and standing there was a man holding an empty container of sulfuric acid.
Oh.
Before hiking this trail, there is
Careful.
a warning sign that states if you have difficulties passing through the 2 posts, you should not continue. People have been calling nature fat-phobic and that it should be widened for plus-sized people, but the sign is warning people that the canyon is very narrow to avoid anyone getting harmed. What do you think?
These are human body parts
Fatphobic?
that may disappear in the future. First up is body hair. Originally, it protected ancient humans from harsh weather conditions. However, over time, with modern clothes and changes in environmental conditions, human body hair has significantly decreased and continues to do so. Many scientists believe it might eventually completely disappear. Next are wisdom teeth. They used to serve an evolutionary purpose for ancient humans who had much rougher diets and needed more chewing power. But our diets have softened and our jaws have become increasingly smaller. As a result, they have no space to properly grow in, and many people need to have them surgically removed. Many babies are now being born without wisdom teeth, and scientists believe this will eventually be the standard. Finally, we have male nipples. Everyone starts as female in the womb, and before the Y chromosome kicks in for males, nipples have already formed. When the baby becomes male, the prolactin levels decrease, making the male nipples non-functional. So while it's debated, some scientists think they'll disappear.
No more male nipples? That's freaking a crazy image to think about, bro.
Here's a list of historical facts that will mess with your perception of time. The last execution by guillotine in France happened after the first ever Star Wars premiered. What? The corporation Nintendo, that was formed the same year that Starry Night was painted. By Vincent van Gogh. The Roman Empire fell in 1453. And America was discovered 40 years later in 1492. Those 2 points in history are miles apart in my head. In 1861, Italy became an official country. And in 1886, Coca-Cola was invented. They were probably serving Coke at the 25-year anniversary of Italy itself. Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman, both prominent female figures in the civil rights movement, were alive during the same time. Like for a few months, but that's still crazy. In 1686, Isaac Newton came up with the 3 laws of motion. And in 1692, the Salem witch trial started. We were doing so well with science. And then we were just like, oh no, these women are witches actually.
John Chow hired 2 fishermen to take him out to this little island in the Indian Ocean. The next morning when the sun came up, John asked the fishermen to take him in a little bit closer, but the fishermen refused. So John puts a kayak in the water and he begins paddling into this island. He sees someone come out of the forest who has their face painted yellow. They all start looking at each other and they start screeching and running down the beach towards John. John stands there until they come all the way up to him. They don't shoot him with arrows, but they take his kayak. And then at some point, a child pulls his bow and arrow out and fires a bow directly at John. And he was holding a Bible, and he stopped the arrow with his Bible. And at that point, John is like, okay, I gotta go. And he jumps in the water, and without a kayak, has to swim a mile to get back to the fishing boat. And so the next day, he told the fishermen he wanted them to drop him off, and he would swim in, and he wanted them to leave and be completely out of sight. And so the fishermen drop him off, and they leave. The next day, when the fishermen come back to collect John, they see these people dragging his body by a rope. No one knows exactly what happened to John, how they killed him, but it's too dangerous for anyone to go back and retrieve his body, and so his body remains at North Sentinel Island. The few hundred people that live on North Sentinel Island that were responsible for killing John Chow, they're referred to as the Sentinelese, and they are unbelievably primitive. The Sentinelese want only Sentinelese on...
Is a 24-year-old teacher from a school in Iowa. Despite her being listed on Facebook as being married after getting married in July, there are disturbing reports emerging. She was recently arrested and charged with abuse after sending obscene materials to a minor. It's believed that she sent inappropriate material to students via Snapchat, and she has resigned from her role at the school. She's accused of SAing at least 3 students while employed by the school, the youngest student being just 13 years old. Court records show that her husband filed for divorce from her on the 28th of August. She currently faces up to 33 years in prison if convicted. It's reported that she has posted a $10,000 bond and has been released from jail for now. She is scheduled to return back to court on Thursday. She is yet to enter a plea.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 1. The original Wizard of Oz movie is actually considered to be cursed because of all the horrific things that happened during filming. The main character, Dorothy, who was played by Judy Garland, was actually drugged and molested during filming. She was given adrenaline shots so that she could stay up more than 48 hours at a time. And there are reports that she was sexually assaulted by the Munchkin actors and studio executives. The actress who played the Wicked Witch got horrifically burned on set. During the scene where the witch escapes Munchkin Land in a plume of smoke, the pyrotechnic team set off the explosion a little too early. It caused the witch's broom, hat, and makeup to catch on fire. The medics had to rub alcohol all over the burns to remove the makeup, which was extremely painful. And the snow that you see in the movie was actually a lethal chemical called asbestos, which causes cancer.
Damn, that movie was cursed.
Horrifying facts that will ruin your day, part 1. 250,000 people die every year due to complications during surgeries, which means you might go into your surgery and just never wake up. There's over 200 dead bodies at the top of Mount Everest, and they will never decompose. If you were to die in your own home, your house cat would literally try to eat you. There's a tumor that can grow hair, teeth, and even eyeballs. A human head remains conscious 20 minutes after it's decapitated, which means you can still think and see after your head gets chopped off. Like and follow for part 2.
Wholesome facts that'll make your day slightly better. Part 2. If you've already made it to the airport without dying, you shouldn't be nervous about flying because you've already made it to the deadliest part of plane travel. Whenever you pet an animal, it actually lowers your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. Side note, this may not work on electric eels, porcupines, or anything that could decimate you in 2 seconds.
You think?
Because guinea pigs get lonely, it's actually illegal in Switzerland to own just one. You have to get at least 2 if you want to have any at all. Sometimes tarantulas will keep tiny frogs as pets. The frogs will eat small insects that would typically eat the tarantula eggs, and in exchange, the frog gets a pretty damn good bodyguard. Capybara Land is a place in Japan where you can quite literally hang out with capybaras and see them chilling in hot springs. If 99% of the world's population finds you unattractive, that would mean that 78 million people still find you attractive.
Here's some things I just learned today. Saudi Arabia just does not have a single river in the entire country. There was a 9-year-old boy who was kidnapped, but after singing the same song for 3 hours, he annoyed the kidnapper so much that the kidnapper released him unharmed. These are the Silver Snipers, a Swedish esports team where the youngest member is 62 and the oldest is 81. The oldest bones that have ever been discovered in Antarctica belonged to an indigenous woman from Chile who passed away in her early 20s. She was found on a beach with no known explanation of how she arrived in Antarctica between 1819 and 1825. People with depression use significantly more first-person singular pronouns like me, myself, and I, which researchers have found are more reliable in identifying depression than negative emotion words. Craigslist generated $300 million in 2024 without spending any money on marketing or advertising, and they don't even have a sales team. Who is still using Craigslist?
People across America are now getting fired for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. This includes political analysts, firefighters, military personnel, and even teachers. In fact, in Texas, nearly 200 school staff are under investigation by local authorities for social media comments and could have their licenses suspended. And it doesn't stop there, because Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned foreign nationals in America, saying, if you're here on a visa and cheering the public assassination of a political figure, prepare to be deported. And also yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance, while hosting an episode of the Charlie Kirk Show, added to the issue, saying, call them out, and hell, call their employers. Some people have even gone as far as putting up a website called Expose Charlie's Murderers, which aims to expose and dox those making insensitive comments towards his murder. And so far, according to a notice on their site, they've already received nearly 30,000 submissions. Now, some say this feels authoritarian and politically motivated, while others say no one has been arrested for celebrating his death, and that people get fired from their jobs all the time for saying stuff on social media. But what do you guys think? Are these fair consequences for someone celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, or is this going too far?
Weird facts you need to know. It is impossible for your right palm to touch your right shoulder. Did you know TikTok doesn't let you type Area 51? If you are coughing uncontrollably, just raise your hands above your shoulders and it will stop. If you don't get enough sleep, your brain will start to eat itself.
Really?
If you think you are being followed, turn right for times. Since you'll get to the same place, they shouldn't be following you anymore. But if they are following you, you might be in trouble. CNN have a pre-recorded broadcast from 90s, which they will premiere during the end of the world. Never sleep with your windows open. The person who invented homework came up with the idea as punishment for students.
It worked.
If you are dreaming and some weird creature appears in your dream, there's someone watching you.
Nightmarish facts about your body that you probably shouldn't think about. Part 1. Due to the brain's lack of pain receptors, brain surgery is often performed while the patient is awake and talking. And in some cases of brain surgery, the surgeon will pull your face forward like a banana. Men's nipples can be stimulated enough to produce milk. Once you turn 30 years old, you can expect to lose half an inch every 10 years. When you developed in the womb, your anus was formed before anything else. So at one point, you were nothing but an asshole. Your penis has rifling. That's why the string twists, which is long enough for them to realize what you did to them.
Damn. I didn't even think about it like that.
Soldier before and after the war, Tyler Siegel. Gerald Hancock. Richard Yearish.
Some legends, man. They put themselves on the front lines.
Sam Brown. Mitch Hunter.
Gotta be a courageous person, man, to do the
Tom
military.
Nelson.
This is the creepy story about the stare. A girl was on the subway late at night when she noticed a woman staring at her intensely. The woman was sitting between two old men. The girl kept looking away, but the woman staring never broke eye contact. It started to freak the girl out. At the next stop, a tall man in a trench coat boarded. He sat down right next to the girl. The woman who was staring paid no attention to the man who just boarded and just kept staring at the girl. Now this really creeped out the girl. The two men that the woman was sitting between never once looked in her direction. The girl then pretended not to notice, but each time she looked, the woman was still staring at her. At the next stop, the man in the trench coat got up to leave when suddenly he grabbed the girl's arm and dragged her out of the subway. The doors shut and the subway took off. The girl then started screaming for help, but then the man said, "Calm down. I just saved your life. I didn't mean to scare you, but I had to get you off that subway." The woman that was staring at you was dead, and the two men beside her were holding her up.
Oh, so he was saving her.
Do you know how rare your body is? 91% of people have a clockwise hair whirl. 83% of people can roll their tongue. 65% of people have looped fingerprints. 43% of people can speak more than one language. 35% of people don't have wisdom teeth. 35% of people naturally have 20/20 vision. 30% of people can flare their nostrils. 25% of people have dimples. 25% of people have perfect teeth. 20% of people are double jointed. 14% of people can make a clover shape with their tongue. 12% of people dream in black and white. 11% of people have naturally curly hair. 10% of people have a second toe that's longer than their big toe. 10% of people have a coffee-colored birthmark. 10% of people can touch their tongue to their nose.
I cannot do that.
No, 9% of people have a counterclockwise hair whirl. 5% of people have arched fingerprints. 4% of people have an outie belly button. 3% of people have an X on both palms. 2% of people have naturally red hair. 2% of people have natural blonde hair. Less than 1% of people have a single crease on their palm. Less than 1% of people have double eyelashes. Less than 1% of people have a negative blood type. Less than 1% of people are born with their heart on the right side of their chest. And less than 1% of people can actually touch their tongue to their elbow.
I can't do that either, bro. I don't gotta do that. If you do, you're rare, bro. A rare breed. Where is he at? And of course I'm
Scary
chasing him.
stalker story. This one's gonna make you afraid to go to bed. A woman named Chelsea Clark was watching movies with her boyfriend when the next day she woke up and received this message. It said, "Really cute couple." His profile picture was a picture of the Joker. She hurried up and screenshot it, but then literally later that day the account was deleted. Police soon investigated but found no leads and could not trace him. What would you do in this situation? Somebody taking a picture of you and your boyfriend in bed, but turns out there's an update to the story. Turns out it was a hacker from Egypt in a group called Spammers and Hackers who hacked into her boyfriend's webcam while they were watching Netflix. I would start covering my cameras on my laptops, ladies. Like this video if you want more scary true stories.
Me too, bro. That's scary, man, that person got access to it just like that. It makes you wonder, man, who's really looking at you, bro, through your camera, through your phones, computers, laptops? You gotta be careful.
Well, let's talk about some of the scariest things kids have ever said. A mom walks in the bathroom to find her 4-year-old daughter playing with her Barbies in the bathtub. She's got all her Barbies face down, and the mom asks, "Why are you doing this?" And she says, "The man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down." A dad and his 3-year-old were driving past the cemetery when the 3-year-old says, "Who are all those people standing there?" The dad looks over, he sees no one. A 4-year-old looks to his mom and says, "You should go see Grandpa at the hospital because his head really hurts after the car crash." Mom looks at him and says, "Grandpa's fine. He doesn't even drive anyways." 15 minutes later, the phone rings. It's Grandpa saying Grandpa's in the hospital after his taxi got in a crash. A mom was stubbing at her kid's 100-year-old Catholic school, and on recess, she says one of the girls kicked a kickball down the steps, and she starts yelling, "Throw it up to me." The mom goes over and says, "Who are you talking to?" The little girl says, "The big man down there." The mom goes down the steps. No one's there. She then goes on to ask the other kids if they've seen the man before. They say yes, but sister told us not to talk to him. A mom wakes up in the middle of the night to her 3-year-old screaming hysterically over the mean old woman scaring him. Trying to just ease and soothe his nerves, she says, "That old lady better watch out or she'll have to deal with me." The 3-year-old stops crying, looks at mom dead in the face and says, "She's not afraid of you, mommy."
People that were born with extra body parts. George Lippert. He was born with 2 functioning hearts and 3 functioning legs. Can. Baby that was born with 2 faces.
Oh.
Xiao Liang has an extra nose on his forehead. Hong Hong. He was born with 15 fingers and 16 toes. Cassandra Bankson. She was born with 2 vulvas.
What is that, 2 vulvas?
John Ruifang. She grew a horn on both sides of her head.
This is why you should never use the word zombie in a horror movie. Have you ever noticed in zombie movies they never actually say zombie? Like there's always something else that they say. Like the undead, the living dead, walkers, biters, infected, brain eaters. It's almost like they're avoiding saying this word on purpose, and that's actually because they are. I was really shocked to learn that the word zombie doesn't come from Hollywood. It comes from Haitian folklore. And it's way darker than something you're used to seeing on the screen. It's not just a monster, it's not just like the undead. A zombie was a person who was resurrected against their will and forced to keep working after death. The word first appeared in America in a travel memoir that was written back in 1929 called The Magic Island. In this book, the author claimed that he saw actual zombies in Haiti, not flesh-eating monsters, like vacant, lifeless laborers on a plantation. And it wasn't a metaphor. The locals told him that these were dead men that were still working. And they really tried to make him believe that this was real. It was real to them, at least. And here's the thing. In the Haitian culture, being a zombie wasn't scary because they'd, like, eat your brain. Being a zombie was scary because it represented enslavement. Like, the way they looked at it, you're, like, oppressed your whole life. It finally ends, and then your body would still be controlled. Like, you wouldn't even have ownership in your own death. But then, of course, Hollywood does what it always does. In 1932, the movie White Zombie came out. And this is the first time the word zombie was used in a film. They took everything very literally. Like, there was, like, a voodoo priest who was raising corpses to work for him, exactly like this book. Except this time they made it, like, campy. They stripped the metaphor and they turned it into this monster story. And that's why today the word zombie is kind of like radioactive. Writers really try to avoid using it. It's kind of like one of those things that's a little too close to history. And it's one of those things that people trace back to, like, slavery and like racism, and it's not like just a monster, it's like a reminder of that. Send this to your friend who thinks they know everything about zombies, and come over here for more freaky.
Most disturbing
Never
videos
knew
in
that.
the world. Episode 6. This picture contains a list of disturbing videos from the least scary to the most. This will be my scariest series ever. Welcome to tier 7 because we skipped a couple of them. And honestly today, we're gonna skip directly to tier 10. The first video is titled Funky Town. This video single-handedly could be the worst video the internet has ever had. Now obviously I can't show the video here, but I can tell you everything you need to know about it. And please remember, don't look this up. Trust me. It shows a man, getting executed, in which they remove the man's face all while he's still alive. And lots of other stuff start happening. And in the background of the video, the song Funky Town starts playing. You know this song? Yeah, that one. Make sure to like and follow because I start my brand new series tomorrow.
I never look at those videos.
We live happily not knowing. Part 2. Brain matter smells sweet. When you pick up a severed head, always be sure to use 2 hands. This is because the weight of said head isn't perfectly distributed like a bowling ball is. Therefore, has a tendency to topple from one hand, if not handled correctly. A full-grown raccoon can fit in your butthole. When you go swimming in a lake or any untreated body of fresh water that does not have steady water flow, there is a small chance you will inhale an amoeba that will subsequently eat your brain, and you will almost certainly die within a week. Taste buds. In our intestines, we have them. The sun could have exploded 5 minutes ago, and we wouldn't know until 3 minutes' time. There is no certainty that the universe will not end in the next 10 seconds.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Scary fun facts until the Orbeez overflow. There are microscopic mites that live in your eyelashes. Being buried alive happens so often on accident that they've now invented safety coffins. In the 1800s, dentures were made with real teeth from the deceased. Radio station UVB76 has been broadcasting since 1982. All it does is make creepy noises and nobody knows where it's broadcasting from. Chainsaws were originally invented for childbirth. The final part of Mount Everest that you have to climb is known as Rainbow Valley. They call it that because all you see is all the different colored jackets from the frozen hikers. And it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
Some of those facts you can't even believe, bro.
A really strange
You don't think it's
story
real.
was the picture that came out of the Varana cruise liner. Large ship that went down at the Atlantic Ocean in 2014, and nobody really knew why at the time. There were very few survivors of this. The news kind of mulled over this for months. They were doing deep dives onto the ship to look for very sinister evidence and relics. Of those who did survive, they all kind of shared this very strange story because they claimed they saw something kind of unexplainable in the water. For a while, it just kind of continued as that. It was just a story. These things kept going on. People kept diving down there, trying to collect relics, evidence, anything they could from the ship. And they found this. The phone of one of the passengers who died, and even though it was waterlogged for a long time, it was still semi-functional. On the phone, this was a photo that was apparently found, leaked from an evidence bank in 2017, and it's hard to refute what this picture is. Unexplained shot of just someone standing in the water, eerily enough taken on the same day the ship sank.
So they connected?
This is why if I ever have kids, I'll never let them use the bathroom alone. A 7-year-old girl and her mom were headed to Target, and she was getting some clothes for school. Her mom also wanted to grab some snacks for movie night. So while her mom went to go grab popcorn and other snacks, she told her daughter to go pick out clothes for school. When her daughter finally finished and picked out the clothes, she went up to her mom and said something strange happened. A sad pale lady had came up to her, telling her that she wished she could have her own daughter that looked just like her. The mom, who thought the daughter was just joking around, laughed it off and said, "Let's go." While heading to the register, the daughter shook her mom and said, "That's the lady who told me she wanted a daughter just like me," pointing at a mannequin. The mom laughed, thinking the daughter was still being silly. You know how kids have wild imaginations, always playing around. While at the register, the daughter had to go to the bathroom. So the mom told her to hurry up. It was only a couple hours down, by the way. While in the bathroom, the daughter texted the mom saying the pale lady's in here who wanted a daughter. The mom, trying to get in a rush back home to her other kids, said, "Hurry up, we have to go. Stop playing around." 10 minutes later, and the daughter never came out. The mother, who was waiting outside the bathroom at this time, rushes in the bathroom to see what the heck is going on. The daughter was nowhere to be found. She even checked the stars to see if her daughter was was hiding, standing on a toilet or something. On one of the stalls, she found her daughter's cell phone on the floor. By the way, if you made it this far in the video, comment down below your favorite fruit. Mine is mangoes. When she checked her phone, this was the last image found in it. Police still to this day have no explanation on what happened to that little girl.
Be wary what your kids are saying, man. I think it's their imagination or something, but no. It's actually real, bro. It's real reality. Mannequin lady. Eerie.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. Number 1, the black market. The black market is something of an urban legend in common society, but it's very, very real. And did you know if you have enough money and access to the black market, you can purchase a slave for as little as $90,000. And while we're on the topic, number 2, slavery. Now, you think of slavery, you think of times in the past that are long gone now, thankfully, right? Wrong. Today, it's been estimated that there are about 30 million slaves on Earth right now, which is the most that there have ever been. And that to me is crazy. Number 3, the Challenger. Now, we all remember the absolute tragedy that was the Challenger exploding. But if you don't know, here's a quick rundown. The Challenger was a space shuttle that was taking off, carrying a couple of passengers who were able to be a part of a space mission. But the thing is, a couple of the passengers included were normal people, like a teacher. And the taking off of the Challenger was going to be a publicized event on TV. Millions of people were tuned in to watch this space shuttle take off, and it did, and then it malfunctioned and blew up in the sky. And everyone saw it. And if that wasn't dark enough, listen to this. It's been confirmed that the people in the Challenger were still alive after it exploded. And the only reason they died was due to the impact when it came back down to the earth below. That one was rough, and I'm sorry I keep ruining your guys' days with these facts, but that's why.
That's crazy. The Challenger? That's a piece.
So now when I say I orally pleasure a cactus and a Popeye's biscuit before I dive in the ocean, this is what I be talking about. God makes no mistakes, but if you dive deep enough, you'll see some rough drafts. That is a deep sea lizardfish. That's definitely its name. I did not make that up just now. It's like a fish that time left behind. It has a flattened skull and a kind of cylinder-shaped body. And that's because it's a camper that spends most of its time sitting on the ocean floor kind of like this, just waiting to snatch up anything that wanders too close. Needles for teeth grab hold of the prey and guarantee that anything that F's around doesn't live long enough to find out twice. And as for what this Jurassic guppy eats, literally anything that fits. It's considered an apex predator, apex standing for anybody can get packed up, no excuses. They haven't evolved enough to think about their actions, so they'll snap up anything, and that includes their own kind. And it's not like mistaken identity. They have 2 huge eyes designed to detect what little light is available down in the abyss of the ocean. So when they commit friendly fire, it's likely intentional. Also, the adults can measure in at over 2.5 feet long, which almost feels too big for something with a face like that. But they live down at the very bottom of the ocean, so you'll probably never see them in real life. Except when you close your eyes at night.
Yeah, that's scary, bro. It's like that Fishing Nemo, man.
This is huge true crime news. The Oklahoma Girl Scout murders from 1977 have been solved after 35 years. Lori, Michelle, and Denise were murdered in 1997 while attending a camp that they were at. There were several suspects and theories over the years, but it went unsolved for quite some time. In 1978, this man, Gene Leroy Hart, was actually arrested and charged with the murders. But there was not enough evidence against him, and he was acquitted. A few months after his acquittal, while he was still in jail on a different charge, he ended up passing away. And although he was acquitted, several investigators still believed that he was responsible for the murders. But there were also other suspects and other theories that couldn't be proven or ruled out. But now, thanks to advanced DNA technology, it has been confirmed that he is the killer. Unfortunately, since he passed away, he can't be charged. But hopefully they can now rest him.
Rest in peace, man. But he got out even though he did it. Who was there at the end of the tunnel? Oh no, you playing a dangerous game, bro. You following your own weed.
This influencer was turned into human soup. I'm Trick and Caitlin, and this is the murder of Abby Choi.
Abby was born into a very wealthy and prestigious family in Hong Kong. Because of this, growing up, she had always experienced the finer things in life, and this continued in her adulthood. She was a rising influencer and also a working model. Abby would be featured on the cover of many magazines. She would attend Paris Fashion Week. She was really into fashion. She partied with Dior, and she was all around a very well-liked socialite. Despite all of this though, Abby didn't let it get to her head. She was a very down-to-earth girl. She had her feet on the ground. She had a huge heart and always helped others, sometimes more than they deserved. By the time she was 28, Abby had been married twice and had 4 children. After divorcing her first husband, a man named Alex Kwong, Abby still took care of not just him, but his whole family financially. She put them up in a very well-sorted area in Hong Kong in a very expensive apartment worth over £7 million. And Alex and his family were all staying there rent-free. Abby would even employ Alex's brother Anthony so that he had a stable income. Anthony would work as Abby's chauffeur, and in return she would pay him very generously. As she grew older and began to mature, Abby was starting to realise that she had done more than enough for Alex and his family, and she was getting sick of always footing the bill and allowing Alex's family to essentially sponge off her. So in 2023, she decided to put this to an end. She approached Alex's father and told him that she was going to be asking them to leave the apartment, and when she said this, Alex's dad turned around and threatened to kill her if she went through with this plan. On the 21st of February 2023, Abby did not show up to collect her daughter from school. School tried to call her numerous times, and each and every time they would get no answer. And considering that Abby's job is an influencer, someone who works on social media, someone who is glued to their phone, her not answering was extremely weird. Only 2 hours later, she would be reported missing to the police. A team of over 100 police officers all participated in the search to try and find Abby Choi, and 72 hours later, they did. Over 20 miles away in a makeshift butcher shop, Hong Kong police would find the remains of 28-year-old Abby Choi. Her body had been completely dismembered. Her legs would be discovered inside of a fridge freezer, and within this makeshift butcher shop there was a stove. On top of that stove there was 2 big pots of soup boiling away. Inside of both of the pots there was carrots and there was radishes, and in one of the pots there was the decapitated head / skull of Abby, and in another pot even more of her bones. Someone had murdered her, dismembered her, and was now making her into a soup. Inside of this makeshift butcher shop, the police would find many instruments that were used in the murder and dismemberment of Abby. This included things such as a meat slicer, an electric saw, a meat mincer, and a meat cleaver. After going on the run and trying to flee Hong Kong, Alex, the ex-husband of Abby, would be tracked down and arrested. Not just him though. His brother Anthony would also be arrested alongside both of the boys' parents. This included their 63-year-old mother and their dad, who was an ex-police sergeant. The latest update indicated that the mother is currently out on bail while they all await their trial.
There are some celebrities with the most kids, except each time it gets bigger.
All right.
Robert De Niro has 7 kids from 4 different women spanning decades. The youngest and oldest have a 51-year age gap between them. Alec Baldwin has 7 kids with his current wife and 1 daughter with his ex-wife, making a total of 8 kids. Clint Eastwood has 8 kids, with the oldest being born in 1954 and the youngest being in 1996. NFL player Tyreek Hill claimed that he has 10 children, but the true number is unknown because at one point 3 different women all came forward claiming that they were pregnant with his kid, all within just 4 months. Eddie Murphy has a confirmed 10 kids with 5 different women, with the oldest being 34 and the youngest being 5. He keeps a good relationship with them all, and when he returned to SNL, all of them were in the audience. Nick Cannon is well known as being a professional breeder with 12 kids with 6 different women, his oldest being twins with Mariah Carey. And some of these names are quite interesting, like Powerful Queen Cannon, Beautiful Zeppelin Cannon, and Rise Messiah Cannon. I think he's running out of names. Bob Marley has 12 different children with 8 different women, 3 of them being with his widow and the rest being with various Jamaican women, and half of the kids all pursued music themselves. Before DMX passed away, he had a whopping 17 children with 11 different women. I guess you could say he really does have that dog in him.
This is the shop.
Got that dog in him, bro. That's what they say, man. But that's just freaking crazy, bro. I kept increasing. I don't see how some people do, man. Especially Nick Cannon, bro. I saw a meme, bro, of him. This like how Nick Cannon be on Father's Day was Lucius Fox. Look at all the screens of the Dark Knight, bro. I'm just like, that's the same amount of kids. But hey, do stay on, I guess.
The truth behind Moana. Lilo from Lilo and Stitch is actually Moana. She actually died at the beginning of the movie Moana, in the scene where her boat crashes and her leg gets stuck under a piece of coral, drowning her. And this is the reason why she's able to communicate with her dead grandmother, and also explains why she's able to follow Maui, who's a demigod, into the underworld. Maui is her guardian angel, and his task is to take her to Te Fiti, which represents heaven, and the whole movie is her journey to the
creepier exact science.
5 signs you might
That's
be
insane.
genius. You talk to yourself. Albert Einstein was often found talking to himself. You worry a lot. Isaac Newton was a chronic worrywart. You have social anxiety. Charles Darwin had debilitating social anxiety. You're a night owl. Nikola Tesla only slept 4 hours per night. And you're a dreamer. Einstein's theory of relativity came to him in a dream about cows. Follow for more.
You were genius seekers? Tell me down below.
This is why you should never stay in sketchy motels. In 2005, a young woman on a solo road trip across the country decided to stop for the night. The first place she sees is the Mountaintop Motel. It looked pretty cheap, but she was tired, so she said good enough. The check-in guy eyed her up and down very uncomfortably and then asked her if she was traveling alone. She ignores the question, pays for her room, and then walks away with the key. When she gets inside her room and sees there are literally cockroaches in her bed, she says nope and decides to sleep in her car in the parking lot. Around 3 a.m., she wakes up to see the check-in guy using his own keys to get into the motel room she was supposed to be in. A few minutes later, he storms out and slams the door and starts walking towards her car. Terrified, she hides under her blanket as the man tries to open her car doors but can't and walks away. She speeds off and calls her friend and asks her to look up the address of Mountaintop Motel so she can give it to police. Her friend's quiet for a second and then just says, "The Mountaintop Motel closed a week ago."
Where was she at, bro?
Deep web footage that got leaked.
I'm gonna have to call edit on this one. You guys know we're getting better at spotting them out. If you see any edits, man, comment down below. That was definitely an edit. I'm gonna have to call cap on that one. We're getting better and better at spotting them seekers, man, with each and every single video. I'm glad you guys are catching on too. Like I said, we update our knowledge base together. Another one, man.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Sweet-looking little girl is Jeannie, also known as the Wild Child, who spent the first 13 years of her life chained to a chair, and this photo was taken moments after she'd just been rescued. This normal-looking scenic painting features the ocean with the night sky. However, it was painted by Adolf Hitler, whose dream in life was to become an artist. However, he failed the entrance exam to art school and ultimately gave up. This photo of Richard Hickok and Perry Smith shows 2 murders after hearing that they'd been sentenced to death. They murdered a family of 4 and planned to rob them, but they found nothing worth stealing except for a mere $50. The girl on the left is wearing a wire. The girl on the right has no idea. Together they stabbed one of their friends to death, and the girl on the left confessed to the police and is now cooperating with them. Besides the pixelation, this looks like a couple getting married surrounded by their loved ones. However, all the children in this photo were horribly physically and mentally abused until a couple of them managed to escape.
This is an actually true, real medical fact that sounds completely fake, but it is actually really true, I promise. Sometimes, babies are born without a butthole. There is a condition called imperforate anus, which is as scary as it sounds. This happens at birth, where sometimes the hole can be blocked or missing altogether, and sometimes the rectum could connect to the colon and lead to different openings, which cause some stool to come out of other areas of the baby. If my baby started shitting out of its dick, I'd be calling a fucking exorcist instead of the doctor. Luckily, it is treatable, and to put it simply, the baby's given an artificial or enlarged hole and given a colostomy. This allows their stool to drain into a bag that can eventually be removed in a few months. What's even crazier about this fact, though, is that it's actually incredibly common with every 1 out of 5,000 babies. To put this in perspective, over 10,000 babies are born a day just in the United States alone. I'm not the best at math, but that's at least 2 babies per day born without a butthole. people. And to put it even more in perspective, the average NFL stadium holds 60,000 people, which means at least 12 people in that stadium have... This is why you should never live next to crazy people.
That's a crazy
In
fact.
2015, a girl who was totally fed up with her noisy neighbors finally worked up the courage to go over there and tell them to be quiet. She knocks on the door, and out walks this insane-looking old woman who just starts hissing at her. And she doesn't stop hissing at her until the girl finally just leaves. She considers calling the police, but ultimately just goes back to her room and goes to bed. But she wakes up a couple hours later when she hears that same hissing sound. Her first thought is there's no way this can be my neighbor, because she had her door locked. But then she notices there's a big lump right next to her in her bed, and she reaches over to check who it is. Her crazy neighbor leaps out of bed and runs into the closet.
This is proof that we weren't alone. Why does this mountain have stripes?
I kind of do see the stripes on them. It is formed that way? If that's true, then who put the stripes there? That's the
It was
real
called
question.
Mata, and its size was approximately 600 feet tall. The legend is that a group of girls were out playing when they came across gigantic bears. To escape the bears, the girls climbed to the top of the summit and prayed to the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit heard their prayers and caused the rock to rise up from the ground out of the reach of the bears. The bears tried to climb up to get them and dug their claws in the rock to gain grip, but kept sliding down because it was too steep for them to climb. The bear's claws scratched the straight marks that are seen to this day.
You guys believe that story? Or think it's just a completely different explanation? I'm gonna leave that to you guys. What's this? This is gonna be interesting.
It's getting attention and stuff is kind of weird. There's no feud, so for us, it's kind of like we just laugh about it because there's nothing there.
You guys are like good friends.
Yeah, we're on an okay level. It's cool.
Are you guys ever gonna do like those dance off that Miley does with the AC/DC?
No, I'm not a dancer, so I leave that up to her.
Selena, the front neck smile. Selena, hold that right there, big smile.
But nah, I heard it's because she had a condition, lupus, so you know that's why she would like that.
Honestly, this is an absolute dream come true. I literally have grown up watching this show.
Okay.
I'm 18 years old. One Heaven phone call. This is a random Heaven phone call, okay? Nothing too serious. If it was serious, I'd call grandma, grandpa, uncle I never got to meet, someone like that. Unserious Heaven phone call. Who are you calling? Personally,
I bet you didn't know these creepy facts that'll probably make you uncomfortable. There are at least 6 people out there that look exactly like you. And there's a 9% chance that you'll meet one of them in your lifetime. The author of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley, kept her deceased husband's heart for almost 30 years, until she died in 1851. A year later, his heart was found in a desk drawer, wrapped in a copy of one of his last poems. A book of spells written in the 1500s details how you can actually summon the nun, who is actually a demon named Valak. In the 1930s, a baby fell from a very high up window and landed on a man walking down the street below. Both the baby and the man survived. A year later, that same baby fell from that same window and landed on the same man. Again, they both survived. Dorothy Kinnaman, a panelist on the hit TV show What's My Line, died under mysterious circumstances while investigating the JFK assassination. Shortly before she died, she was quoted telling a friend, "I'm going to break the real story and have the biggest scoop of the century. If you can't get enough of true crime and horror, you should go follow my boyfriend. That way you can have double the true crime and double the horror." He's tagged right here.
That JFK story, man, that's chilling. You know what happens to people, man. Unless you try to expose the truth on like historical events. Sometimes people don't like it when they get too close to it, man. They'll do anything to shut that story down. I wonder what the real truth is about.
The deadliest candy in the world. This powdered candy was banned because it was basically just a jar full of lead. It was called Lucas's Mexican Candy, and it was advertised as a way to spice up your foods by adding artificial lemon flavoring. But most kids just ate it straight from the bottle. In 2004, the FDA discovered that it had twice the legal limit of lead per gram. This prompted a massive panic and recall of the entire stock of this candy, and it remains banned to this day. Like, follow, share for more strange facts.
Careful what you eating.
So it looks like it is actually happening. North Korea is reportedly about to send 12,000 troops to Russia to fight on the front lines, and that's according to South Korea's spy agency, who labeled it as a grave security threat. Now, the reason that this is being treated as such a big deal is because up until this point, officially, both Russia and Ukraine have only received weapons from their respective allies, and this deployment from North Korea would mark the first time that a third country is directly getting involved in the conflict with actual troops. And that's a move that Zelensky called the first step to a world war.
One of my favorite Saw traditions is back. For those who don't know, for every Saw movie that comes out, they have a Saw blood drive. It's a partnership with the Red Cross. They did it for the very first Saw movie as a way to promote the film. If you come and give us some blood, we give you free tickets to see the movie. But the original filmmakers saw how successful this was. They saw how many people came out to donate blood, and they decided they wanted to do it again, but just to mostly help people than anything. And they did this for the Saw movies 1 through 8. And by the time Saw 8, aka Jigsaw, finished its promotional campaign, over 360,000 total lives have been saved because of the Saw franchise. I did make a video talking about this back in 2021. Wow, the difference a few years makes. They had to skip over the blood drive for Spiral, I'm assuming because of COVID-related reasons, but now it's back for Saw X, and the posters look so good. They're also advertising all blood types are accepted from all people, which is amazing.
Good way to save people, man. That's actually one of the most cleverest, I guess, promotions tied into a movie I've ever seen.
Here's the truth behind Shrek. Okay, who remembers the scene in Shrek when the bears are locked up by Lord Farquaad? Daddy and Mommy Bear are trapped together while the baby is in a separate cage. If you look closely, you can see Mama Bear has a pink bow on her head. Later in the movie, you can see Daddy Bear and Baby Bear are free, but Baby Bear is crying. So the question is, where's Mama Bear? Well, here's your answer.
What? You know how many times I watched the Shrek movie as a kid? I never noticed that. The little details of this movie, man. That's crazy. I never knew that. I didn't put two and two together, man. When you're a kid, you don't pay attention to that stuff.
I bet you didn't know this about the world. Part 1. Information travels in the brain at 260 miles per hour. Your hair contains tiny amounts of gold. The ocean contains almost 200,000 viruses. Your mind wanders 30% of the time. Sudan has the most pyramids of all countries.
Wow. You have gold hair, bro.
Here's some Disney Channel stars that went to jail, but each time the crime gets worse. Mitchell Musso, who played Oliver Oken on Hannah Montana, was pulled over in 2011 for suspicion of drunk driving. Being only 20, he blew over the legal limit and was arrested and released on bail. Because of this, his character was written out of Pair of Kings, and his show Prank Wars was cancelled. Adam Hicks, who played Luther on Zeke and Luther and had a starring role in Lemonade Mouth, was arrested a couple times, most recently for armed robbery with his girlfriend. His sentencing was delayed multiple times due to mental health evaluations, and eventually he was given a 5-year sentence for armed robbery, but he's now currently on parole and making music on TikTok. Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby, was arrested and charged for manslaughter after killing a 21-year-old girl while drunk driving. He was originally given a 5-year sentence, but the court suspended 4 years due to his work with prison-based theater groups that performed in jails, churches, and schools to highlight the negative consequences of drug abuse. Upon release, he was given 2 years probation and 350 hours of community service.
Never knew that, man. Mr. Mosby? What the hell is going on?
To live on the ocean.
The Bajau people found on the waters of Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. It's understood they've retained this lifestyle for around 1,000 years. They spend most of the day diving into the ocean, hunting fish and other sea creatures. But here's where things get really interesting. They can hold their breath underwater for up to 13 minutes and dive as far down as 60 meters. Due to the pressure of the water that far down, some actually pierce their eardrums, which is actually really bad for them. Some go deaf. Now, the reason they're able to hold their breaths underwater for so long is because they evolved larger spleens in comparison to other humans, providing more oxygen to their blood. Their spleens tend to be at least 50% larger than their own. Isn't that interesting?
These are the world's
Okay, mermaids?
Starting at number 4, Letta the doll, a 200-year-old wooden doll with human hair. She was discovered beneath a house in Australia. Kerry Walton, the caretaker of this doll, witnessed many strange things ever since he took her inside his home. Marks on the floor, objects mysteriously moving, and strange noises at night. Number 3, Okiku. This doll was purchased by a young man in 1918 in Japan as a gift for his younger sister. Tragically, after a year, the little girl passed away from a severe case of the flu. Sometime later, the family noticed something off about the doll's hair. It was originally short, and it has grown past its shoulder. Until this day, the doll's hair is maintained on a regular basis because it never stopped growing. Number 2, Annabelle, known for its infamous movie releases and stories with Ed and Lorraine Warren. We do know that this doll is possessed by something that is evil, and whoever held this doll suffered from many bad things. Therefore, the doll is now stored in the Warren Museum, safe and sealed. But Annabelle is not the most haunted doll. Because coming at number 1, Robert. Robert is not an ordinary doll. This thing is sinister. This doll is possessed by a demon, and it speaks to children. In Florida, in the early 1900s, this doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene, and his parents always used to hear Robert and his doll speak in the bedroom alone. And the family used to hear the voice of the doll respond. Eugene kept his doll till 1974 until he passed away at an old age. No one knew why this old man kept his doll for more than 70 years. After his death, Robert was given to the East Martello Museum. Visitors who have taken his picture without permission claim to have experienced terrible misfortune. If you visit Robert in the museum, you will see that this doll is surrounded by apology letters. And also other letters, like permission to look at him. And no one dares to take a picture of Robert.
I wouldn't.
There was a 6-year-old guest at one of Diddy's white parties, and he's revealed everything he saw. Justin Litovsky, now 30, along with his father David Allen and mother Maya, were invited to an afternoon barbecue in 1999. But when they arrived, it turned out that they were actually at one of Diddy's infamous white parties. Litovsky went on to tell the New York Post that he recalled seeing lots of drugs and naked women, but they didn't see people having sex. However, according to Justin's mother, they did leave at 9:30 p.m.
This guy was rated by the FBI for AI generating music on Spotify, and he earned an 8-figure fortune while doing it. 52-year-old Michael Smith of North Carolina is a music producer, or maybe more of just an AI prompt writer in this particular case, because he used AI to generate music, uploaded it to Spotify and Apple Music, and would then send swarms of listening bots to stream the music and get paid for it. Yes, AI generated music streamed by bots. This really is the dead internet theory coming to life. He's currently being charged with wire fraud conspiracy, wire fraud, and money laundering conspiracy, totaling to a combined maximum of 60 years in prison. But many are quick to point out that he technically didn't break any direct laws, as music streaming fraud isn't a crime. yet. It is against streaming platforms like Spotify terms of service for sure, but company policy is not the same as the law. He first found out how to send listening bots to his songs on streaming platforms without getting detected back in 2017. But he realized he'd get caught real quick. Just a small handful of his songs by an unknown artist got billions of views. So when AI-generated music first became a thing, he saw the opportunity of a lifetime. Working with the CEO of an AI music company, he started producing hundreds of thousands of songs generated by AI to send his army of listening bots to, made under thousands of different fake artist names like Callio Bloom, Callus Humane, Callus Ness, Com Baseball, Com Innovation, and Com Knuckles. Clearly AI generated. Even the album art was AI generated. Like, what in the f*** is this? And even weirder song names like Zygophysiae, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce these, in combination with thousands of fake names, emails, accounts, and VPNs to help make his streams look as legitimate as possible. He collected a total of $10 million in royalties from the music streaming giants between 2017 and 2024, racking in over $1 million a year. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a sample of any of his songs anywhere online, as they've all been scrubbed clean from every music streaming platform and website I could find. But let me know if any of you come across them. I'd love to listen me some Callio Bloom and hear just what kind of AI music was topping the charts all these years.
Crazy social media.
Goes to show you, man, he was hacking the system, man. It goes to show you, bro, like how like these artists and stuff, the stats and stuff, I guess, on Spotify and Apple Music, how it can be easily manipulated, bro, if they just be sending bots. So you never know whose numbers are real or not. He hacked the system, bro.
Media facts you won't believe. The most liked post on Instagram is an egg. It broke records with over 55 million likes. There's more TikTok users than cars on Earth. In 2022, TikTok surpassed Google as the most visited site in the world. Mr. Beast once opened 300 restaurants in one day. Now what's more crazy than that is that Rode is giving away $250,000 in cash. Plus amazing prices from Rode and their partners like Fujifilm, Atmos, and lots more. It doesn't matter if you're into ASMR, video gaming, or podcasting. You just need to use a Rode product and pick one of 22 categories. Don't miss out on your shot to be part of the Rode Creator of the Year Awards. Head to Creator.
It out in room temperature for 24 hours, and shockingly it didn't melt, and that's what we're eating. So if you look at the box drumsticks, like the packaging, right, nowhere on the packaging does it say that it's ice cream, because legally by the USDA they cannot say it's ice cream unless in the product they have like 10% milk fat. Drumsticks do not have that, so legally they cannot say it's ice cream, right? And look at the box. On the box it's so small where they put it, it only says 4 frozen dairy dessert cones, and they only put it super small at the bottom of the box. So since it says frozen dessert cones, that usually means it's made with like oils. There's like some milk fat, right? But there's not enough to call it ice cream, and that's why drumsticks don't melt.
Have you ever heard? I've never noticed that before, bro. Just pointed something out to me. If you look at the bottom, like I said, the bottom right hand corner, it doesn't say ice cream, it says fudge cones. Now I remember I had like an ice cream cones like a couple weeks ago, and it tasted so freaking disgusting. I just threw it away. I'm like, that's not no damn ice cream. I experienced that firsthand.
The conspiracy theory about Mrs. Puff, there's a theory that Mrs. Puff may have a very dark past. In the season 2 episode of SpongeBob titled Lighthouse Louie, it was revealed that before Mrs. Puff came to Bikini Bottom, she lived in a place called New Kelp City, and she may have been responsible for a terrible accident that happened there. Because in that episode, there was a scene where SpongeBob was going through a whole bunch of junk, and he ran across this newspaper article. The article is from the New Kelp Post and reads, "Range boat teacher makes getaway." And then at the bottom says, "Distracts authorities with balloon animals." It clearly shows a picture of Mrs. Puff. But here's when things get a little spooky. It might be a clear indication that Mrs. Puff is not who she says she is. Because if you take it back to the season 2 episode, No Free Ride, there was a scene where she says, "I have to move to a new city, start a new boating school with a new name." Then she says, "No, not again." Do you remember this part about distracting authorities with balloon animals? Rewind it back to this scene with the balloon animal. I don't know about y'all. I think Mrs. Puff got some explaining to do.
You'd like to learn something new today. Great, let me tell you these things that you definitely needed to know. Sony spent over $1 million in 2005 to drop 250,000 bouncy balls off of one of the steepest streets in San Francisco, which broke a bunch of windows and destroyed cars in the process. And who knew just 20 years later you could use AI to do that? Yippee! Over 99% of Warren Buffett's net worth was accumulated after he was 65 years old. Dang, that retirement 401k really paid off, didn't it? I'll be here every day. There was a 15-year-old in India who decided to take his spade and try to dig a pond to quench the thirst of the people and the cattle that were in his village. While his fellow villagers laughed at him, he identified one spot in the forest where he decided he was just going to keep on digging. He dug for 27 years, and the result was a 1-acre, 15 feet deep pond. Talk about consistency, coming back every day. And we complain about like going to the gym every day.
Damn, did y'all hear about laundry detergent being banned in New York? Some brands was banned in New York because of the high level of dioxane, which is a cancer-causing chemical. It is in a category called forever chemicals. And it's called forever chemicals because they do not break down over time and permanently remain in the air, soil, water, and in the body. New York wanted to reduce the amount of forever chemicals that's in the water supply. So they changed the legal amount of how much to be put in it. And the brands Tide, Arm & Hammer, and Game were shown to exceed that limit. Spokesperson for Tide and Game says that they changed their products to be in compliance with the New York rule and claims that the dioxane is coming from the plastic or the bottom. From brands to the highest to lowest level, 1 is Arm & Hammer, 2 is Tide, and 3 is Game. But again, they've been said that changes was made by the manufacturers. So technically they ain't been banned yet. But a study being done in 2022 on these products is what caused all this. Because these harsh ingredients could pose a risk to human and environmental health. And brands that claim to be truly clean as Dirty Labs, Drops, and more. An original statement of Tide Original, Game Original Plus, and Roman Boats were also banned, but reformulated their products to a lower concentration limit. Damn, what's your thoughts on this?
What's going into the game?
Take your notes.
Any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did. I always, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. She's so about the power of intention, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game, because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones, and she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. And I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and my God, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you. And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. And of course we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I'm asking, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
This woman called a secret society.
What the hell? He said he had, when he was describing altered pictures, all those pictures I guess his wife told him to bring. I don't know if she was doing like a little prayer ceremony or something, just hoping the good luck, but because there's sometimes you gotta think, man, the way Tom Brady was winning in the NFL, it was something. But some of those games were just like unbelievable. Especially that Super Bowl, man, against the Falcons, that 28-3 comeback. There had to be some type of mojo involved, man.
Why are you doing a ritual in the middle of a cornfield? Check this
I was
out.
just walking in the cornfields, minding my own business. Typical Friday night in Indiana.
Okay.
Thought I was all by myself.
But she's not.
I was not. I'm talking quietly because I'm a little frightened.
There they are.
This is happening.
That's an effigy of a demon. She's gonna get a little closer. Watch this.
Could I get closer? They're not even acknowledging my presence. And I don't really have any friends. I kind of wanted to do something fun tonight because it is a Friday, so I'm just gonna see.
Kind of strange to walk around a cornfield on Friday night by yourself. Check this out.
It's so weird. There's so many many weird things happen
They're like
out
in a
here all the
trance.
time. You really never know. What?
That's a demon FG.
What? Here, I'll show you guys a better angle. Pretty nice.
Stay weird, y'all. Some
Well,
strange
I
things
guess I'm
going
just
on.
gonna hang out here for a little bit with my new friends and
Stay weird.
So this
I'm
is
out.
what our water is going to look like very soon. Hence the bill they just passed to be able to pass through sewage and other yuckiness through our water streams, right? Like the water that you wash your face with, that you take a bath with, that you drink. Now a lot of people say, well, I don't drink tap water, so I don't really care. But you take showers, you wash your face, you do other stuff with water. I literally stopped drinking plastic bottles of water. I switched over. I bought a Brita, you know, the filter. I bought a Brita. You know what I'm saying? I'm saving money on water. Don't have to buy bottled water, just my own. You know what I'm saying? And now you're telling me I gotta go back to drinking the plastic water because obviously it's gonna be healthier for you than having to drink this or this. Disgusting. Like who wants to? I just don't get what they're doing. I thought RFK said he wanted us to be healthy again, make America healthy again. Well, it doesn't start with passing poo particles and all type of other sewage particles through our main water supplies. Make it make sense, dude. Like, what are we doing? How is this making America great?
Have you heard about Mole World Dreams? Why do I ask? Because people are coming together and telling their story about how they're all having the same dreams and waking up in the same places.
Wow.
It's like going to sleep and having a dream and then waking up and saying to yourself, that felt so real. Everyone online is talking about this place called Mole World. Thousands upon thousands of people have claimed to have visited the same place while dreaming. What if this place, hear me out, is not a dream, but just turns out to be a part of a simulation? People have described that in the videos that the escalators in the mall led to nowhere, hallways with no, and also elevators with floors that did not match what they said. People have also claimed to see a playground in their dreams, and also claim to hear children laughing, but none can be seen. So my question to you is, have you ever experienced this dream of a mole world? Do you think that maybe this is a place where we go to reset our minds, to get our thoughts? Or is it just where we actually live? And when we wake up, we're in the simulation. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
There is
The Enemy of the Seekers experience, the Mole World Dream. I've never have. That just sounds like one mass, I guess, place where everybody with all the dreamers come together, man. That's interesting. People dreaming the same dream. What's going on?
About a guy who used to work in the Navy in the 70s.
Uh-oh.
They placed an acoustic sensor device all throughout the ocean floor in certain areas. This was to map the ocean floor, detect submarines, and find other anomalies and stuff. It says one of the contacts while in the Navy who worked on the ASW team who was responsible for monitoring the sensors and everything. They would discuss underwater submersible objects that detected that would travel at thousands of miles per hour underwater.
What are you talking about?
He said they also have detected various structures underwater that are active and that they stay clear of. And so those might be like volcanoes or whatever,
Okay, yeah.
but they're detecting actual anomalies
This came out
underwater.
recently?
This is a report from a guy that worked in the Navy in the 1970s.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was in the 70s? They were tracking this stuff?
When they placed the sensor devices in, on the ocean floor.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
So-
Like, you know how you get stoked about space?
Yeah.
I get stoked about the ocean.
Those are probably like alien stuff. Though.
Yes!
Oh.
They're meeting.
Dude, the ocean freaks me out way more than space.
What is going on with Jaden Smith? This man is not normal. This is not normal. Do y'all see this man's face? That's not from a camera flash. I don't know if this man got red dye, red makeup. I don't know what the hell that red shit on his face is. It look like it's on his hands too. Y'all, look at this video. Look at his face. What the hell is that? I just be trying to understand where did it all go wrong for this man. You had every opportunity to become one of the best actors ever. After the Karate Kid, I'm thinking this man finna have the best fucking acting career ever. But nah, this man took a whole different route. I mean, it is his life. I'm just trying to understand, fool. Like, why does a lot of Hollywood rich kids turn out to be weird? Nobody else but me noticed that. Like, what is he throwing up? What is these hand signs, fool? Last time I checked, fool, you grew up in a 7-bedroom, 6-bathroom house. So I'm not understanding. I need y'all thoughts down below in the comments. What do y'all think is going on, fool?
This will probably become the most controversial movie of the year. A Jesus Christ horror movie is about to drop, and the plot is absolutely wild. It's called The Carpenter's Son, and in the teaser trailer we see it's going to star Nicolas Cage of all people to play Joseph. We got Noah Jupe starring as Jesus and FKA Twigs as Mary. But instead of following his life and ministry like most Jesus movies, this one is going to be totally different. In fact, they use the phrase, a dark reimagining of Jesus. Now, the plot will revolve around him and his family hiding out in Roman Egypt while he is still a child, when one day he starts to discover his inherent powers. I mean, it's sounding like a freaking superhero movie so far. And according to the film's synopsis, quote, as he exercises his own power, the boy and his family become the target of horrors, natural and divine, which also leads Jesus to rebel against his guardian, Joseph. I'm not gonna lie, Nick Cage, cooked. Now, of course, this has led to a lot of backlash online with Christians calling it blasphemous and offensive, while others are saying that this biblical horror is exciting and a fresh take on the genre. Now, it's set to release later this year, but what do you guys think? Is this too far to make a horror movie about Jesus, or fair game?
Apparently, all of the
No, Hollywood don't care.
is coming out in 2025, whether they like it or not. What if I told you your DNA didn't start on Earth? And it may have came straight from outer space. Scientists just found proof of human DNA in a meteor that's over 2 billion years old. You heard what I just said? Human DNA in something that came from space. Now ask yourself, where the hell did we really come from? And before you think I'm going too far, let me explain. Scientists were studying this meteorite and found DNA molecules that exist inside of me and you. We're talking about adenine, guanine, cytosine, all of the ingredients that make life possible. And think about it. What if Earth wasn't the start of life? What if Earth was just a landing spot? Like, what if something out there threw a seed and that seed turned into us? What if we might actually be the aliens that we've been searching for? 2 billion years ago, this rock fell from the sky. Fast forward to now, we're talking, breathing, creating technology, making TikToks, all because of what? A space rock? Our DNA might literally be cosmic. Like, we might have the universe inside of us. But peep this crazy shit. Scientists are saying that this could mean that life exists all over the galaxy because our DNA showed up in space. So what else is out there? So think, what else is out there that looks like us? What if other civilizations already evolved from the same building blocks, same codes, just a different planet? Drop an alien emoji if you think we came from a star. And if this blew your mind, follow for more. Because this rabbit hole is way deeper than you think. I'm out.
Do what he said, man, Seekers. If y'all think, man, we got freaking cousins or something, man, out in the stars, drop an alien emoji. I want to see him.
A skeleton purse with real spines.
Oh, what is it, like Balenci? Rick?
It's not. It's some next brand called Unconventional. It uses a real spine from a... Now, where do they get the bodies, though? They say they get the bodies from, like, donors that send their bodies or sign it up for science.
Yeah.
You know how you go to those science centers?
Yeah, you see the big
whole bodies. It's still weird, though. Like, why... And why handbags?
Yeah. Are they trying to portray it as luxury? Like, is it very expensive?
Yeah.
That's even worse. It has to be, too. That's even worse because that makes people want to buy it.
And you know who's buying that?
Yeah,
they're weirdos.
Yeah, no, the rich man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually,
why is it always about people? That's what's weird.
Y'all,
weird.
When I tell you this generation is cooked, y'all, people who do not have discernment, cooked. People with discernment, cooked. Have y'all seen this new AI from OpenAI called Sora 2? When I tell y'all that we've officially crossed the line from what's reality and what's a simulation, y'all, I am not exaggerating. This thing doesn't just generate videos, it generates reality. I'm talking about facial expressions, movement,
voices, sound, they are all made by AI. And somebody out there already used it to make Jake Paul clips where you think it's so legit that it looked like he filmed them himself, y'all.
Alright, I'm gonna show you how to do the perfect everyday glam. Step, blush, scrub a ton of it, swirl it around, boom, right on there. If your face doesn't look like you just ran a marathon in the desert, you're not doing it right. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how to get these girls looking fresh and yes, very good with the new sparkly pink scent. Here's the curl cream I swear by. I take about that much, melt it in my hands, and then just work it through while the hair's still damp. Try to read my tank. This is hands down the grossest thing I've ever done. I'm up to my shoulders. It's warm. It smells terrible. And there's toilet paper doing laps around me. The tank right now. Up to my shoulders. This is disgusting, but it's gonna be worth it.
Oh, nah.
Be real. Do I exist? Does anybody know? Does anyone have an answer? Or has this all just been sorted to? I'm gonna ask the questions that matter. Are we AI? Because I don't know. I can't tell the difference and I'm losing my mind. Dude, I just watched the video of Jake Paul applying makeup like a makeup artist. Brother, we're not just cooked. We're marinated, sauteed, deep fried, and put in a fat guy's Tupperware for a meal prep he's not gonna stick to.
What's crazy is that Pisces is the age of illusion, and now that we are leaving the age of illusion, it's like all of them are coming to the surface to see where our perception really is, right? And I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to lose it, just like him.
Now I'm watching videos of XQC verbally abusing senior citizens in a retirement home, and I don't know what's real and what's fake. Facebook moms are gonna lose it. I'm losing it.
The ship is here, y'all. So what if this ship has to do with altering our perception to leave this illusion, this sport of illusion that we've always been in? Wouldn't that be something? Because a lot of movies tell us that, y'all. But let me know what you guys think about this Sora too, man. Sora, whatever you want to call it. But the ship is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace out.
And this Sora AI crap, it's getting scary, bro. Like you said, you can't tell the difference no more. You don't know if it's freaking fake or real. You can't lie, Seekers, man. That looks freaking legit. If that guy didn't say it was freaking Sora AI, or you didn't have to see the Sora logo on the video, you couldn't tell the difference, man. When it gets to the point where you can't even tell if it's fake or real, fiction from reality, and when the lines are starting to blur, that's when it's getting scary, Seekers. You gotta stay safe out here, man. I don't want to see no freaking AI edits of me, ever. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up, comment down below, tell me what you guys think of this video. You guys are going to catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, Seekers.